Welcome to episode 7 of Feelings in Flannel. On this episode, we have my own flesh and blood, Aiden Binkard, who brings Zookeeper. Special note in this one, if you hear what sounds like thunder or elephants running through the room, that's activity happening outside of the studio that we can't control. Enjoy the episode. Feelings in Flannel is hosted by us. I'm Adam.
I'm Amelia.
And we are a father-daughter combo who are setting out to debate the merits of love, romance, humor, and faith in RomComs new and old.
Listen and join us as we seek to name the top 5 RomComs and discuss masculinity and femininity together and how that plays into role. Make sure to like and subscribe and share it with your friends on social media.
Stay tuned. All right, here we are, episode 7. This is a good one. We got a special one.
Yeah, I won't lie. I was kind of nervous to bring this particular guest on because basically you guys are the same person and both of you are good at debating, but I have a little bit of relief because I've been assured that he's on my side.
And you bought that, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, so tonight we've got my mini-me, Aiden Binkard, as a guest who you will remember in episode 1 of season 2, his wife, Olivia, was on and said that he did a boogie during the movie Pretty Woman. And so here to tell us about that boogie and demonstrate is my son, Amelia's brother, Aiden Binkard.
I don't remember the boogie that is being referred to, although Pretty Woman I do think was amazing. That was part of my reason for coming on, was I think it should have scored higher, and I do think that Father here twisted the rules a bit to make sure that it didn't score higher, and we do have proof of that, but that's for a later time. But it was a great movie. I am upset that it's not number 1 on the list, but The Proposal is one of my favorites as well, so I'm okay with it.
I like how nobody includes me when they talk about twisting the rules. It's always Dad twisted it, Father
That's because he's the one doing it.
You know, all I have to say is if you want to know why, follow the money. I pay for this. So
Yeah, but so does she.
yeah, so we do what we want. That's the point.
Yeah, but she's not the one breaking the rules. You are.
Yeah, but I'm more.
I silently
50%.
don't protest.
I have a stronger proclivity for rule breaking.
Don't use big words with me. Just
what I
say
said.
what you mean. Nobody knows what
Just say what you
proclivity
mean.
is, nor do we care.
Oh man! So tonight is going to be wild, and who knows what's going to come out of anyone's mouth tonight. But this is episode 7, so we're getting close to winding up season 2. But we're not ending with 10 episodes this season. We're going to land at 11 because we had a guest make a passionate plea, or I'm sorry, a community member make a passionate plea to be a guest. And we said yes. And in doing so, we had to add an episode because we already had guests lined out. So that's going to be interesting. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am too. However, it bothers me that it's going to be 11 episodes. Like, that's just a gross number. It's not even in any capacity. Now, I don't need it to be an even number. Multiples of 5 are great, but 11, that's gross.
Well, this is divisible by 2 5s. 5.5.
We're not doing math. Multiples of 5 is as far as I go. Thanks. All right, let's get to the episode. Anyways.
I could come back and re-argue Pretty Woman for an episode 12 if that would make you feel
Nope.
better.
Argue lost. And you guys are one. You guys are
I
married.
didn't lose. I didn't.
Yeah, but you're one now. You got married. That was your fault.
I know, but I was disappointed with how it went.
But it's
you
still in
saying
the top
you're
5.
disappointed with Liv's performance?
Dang.
No, absolutely, maybe. Only in some
Dang.
categories.
Absolutely, maybe.
Only in some categories.
Isn't
but
that a rom-com? No, it's definitely
It is
maybe.
not.
That's a
It is not. I would not say it's her fault because the movie was there. This is just the debate is not necessarily her strong suit, and it was her first time doing it.
It's tough when you step toe to toe with the king. It's easy to lose.
Sure.
If I would have maybe said something, maybe it would have gone different. But I kept my mouth shut because, to be honest, I didn't want my movie to get booted. So is that bias? Absolutely, but I'm owning it, so it doesn't count.
True. We have talked about this since, so.
This is the disease that's plagued our nation. People don't speak up.
Ooh.
Thanks
It's
for
hard for some
contributing
people.
to the downfall of America.
Sorry, guys.
All right, let's talk movie. What are you bringing?
I have brought Zookeeper.
Zookeeper.
With, yes, Kevin James movie. Good movie. Maybe not necessarily what you would think of when you think of RomCom, but it does Google as a RomCom. I did check. And it does check the boxes as far as I'm aware.
It gets some of them.
We might change the rules, though.
That's true. Well,
It's a
I wouldn't
start.
say we.
Right.
Again,
Dad
let's
might
keep
change
this
the rules.
directed
I
in the
might change the
direction it
rules.
should go.
I forgot
might.
he's on my side.
He might change
Yeah.
the rules.
Yeah, like is there an animal that doesn't belong? That's probably a factor. We might add that criteria tonight.
Technically, all of them don't belong. They belong in the wild.
Okay.
No.
Anyways.
You got a PETA wannabe over here. So Zookeeper, Kevin James is a star-studded cast, although most of them are voice actors in this case.
Right.
But run it down for the guest. Tell them, what's this movie about?
Okay, so Zookeeper is a movie where Kevin James is a zookeeper, and it starts off the movie with him proposing to his then fiance and her saying no. And she says, "Ooh, you should have seen this coming," which is very important later on. But she does say that, and she says that they just aren't meant to be together. They break off their relationship, and then about 5 years later, it fast forwards, and he's become the head zookeeper at his zoo. Part of what she said was she didn't like that he was a zookeeper. She thought that maybe he would move on to bigger things. So he does become the head zookeeper, and then later on he falls in love with his coworker, who is actually there temporarily, or supposed to be, for an eagle exhibit, just getting it started up for him. And then he goes through some different trials with going back to his old love, which is no good for him. No good at all. But he ends up with the right lady in the end.
All right. That's a pretty good rundown.
Yep, excellent. I've noticed every single guest is really good at summarizing movies, and I'm not. I have yet to master that skill. So
Well, you're really good at basically quoting the transcript of the movie.
right, but that's not the summary.
If we wanted to watch it verbally, we'd call you.
Well, I guess that's a compliment.
Summarizing anything,
Never.
honestly.
Yeah,
We
that
should
was-
just have an episode of just Amelia stories. It'd be 16 hours long for 3 stories.
Listen, I pay attention to detail, and I want to keep you all informed. And I get it from my grandpa, and he's the only one who understands. So that's all I need. We got each other.
We got each other.
Fair
All right.
enough.
Well, Zookeeper, I will say, as I've said since season 1, I really only seek to be entertained. I've seen this movie now twice because we watched it in prep. I'm entertained. It's an entertaining movie.
It is. It's a funny one.
It is. It's got some really funny parts that I'm sure we'll get to as we go around. But
I would like to say, it does have funny parts, and part of the reason that I came on was it bothered me that in the RomCom discussion, none of the criteria has anything to do with com at all. You know, I could watch a whole movie and not laugh once, but it could be a 7 out of 7, which I didn't like, so that's why I picked a more comedy-based movie instead of something else, you know, that my wife and I had watched.
I think that's more of a reflection of our family. Me and Dad are more the reflective. Not
true.
that you're not reflective.
You two are the
You
girls
have
of the
deep
family.
thoughts, but you and Mom are more like, let's just keep it surface laughing all the time.
True.
You can go deep if you want, but we go deep all the time. We can't help it.
It's true.
So I think that's a reflection of, I just like romance. I could do without.
I mean, perhaps we overthought it a little.
Nah.
But I don't know what kind of comedy criteria you'd put on there. Did I laugh? That doesn't work. It's too vague.
I don't know. I think you could have come up with something if you thought about it, especially with as much as you pride yourself on being an intellectual being.
I do have a proclivity for that.
I still don't know what that means. And I don't have service to Google it, so I've just got my notes and my timer.
Well, yeah, that's come up a few times. Some have commented, called, text, and said, "Hey, why isn't one of the criteria about comedy?" Well, because we made it and we run the show here. So
Fair enough.
that's pretty much how that went down.
This is America. It's a free country. We do what we want, respectively.
Respectively.
Follow the rules, people. Follow
Within the law.
Yep.
Okay, so let's do criteria. You want to start with yours or?
Yeah. I'll go with what's my first one? Oh yes, giddy girly. So the heart squeezes, all the
Come with the big guns. You went right at your brother with giddy and girly. Like he's going to be excited about that one.
he secretly is. I know him.
There is much cardiac embrace in this movie.
Oh, is there? I don't know.
I love that he chose cardiac embrace over heart squeeze.
There's also lots of heart squeezes.
Cardiac embrace caught on.
It did.
But heart squeeze is my original words. I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna stick true to myself.
Well, I'm good with either.
So yeah, giddy girly, all the feels, heart squeeze, the audible or the physical reaction.
Okay. Well, so I do just have some quick, jot down notes. So I'll run through the ones that I wrote down that were heart squeezes. The first one is questionable, but in the context of the movie, it makes sense. It sets you up for the later parts of the movie. And I did watch the movie with my wife, Liv. So these are all verified by a female as actual heart squeeze moments. Because I just had to say, I think that was one.
I
didn't feel anything.
I think Amelia will be the judge of that. But
we have different hearts.
I don't know that I've ever felt a heart squeeze.
I have not in any of the movies we've watched. But
I've witnessed it.
I can identify them and say that would be one of those. But I have to verify with someone who has those sorts of feelings.
I don't know how you can't feel one. It's just so... I can't not feel one.
Because I feel nothing emotionally.
Oh.
He's
I
emotionally
feel nothing except for rage. Yes, thank you. You gave me my first Lego Batman plug.
You're welcome.
I love that movie.
See,
Watch
you were
it.
nervous about having me on. I'm just trying to help
Well,
you
that's
out.
before I knew you were on my side.
Well.
So let's hear some cardiac embraces from the notes.
Okay. So the first one that is, again, I said questionable, but it makes sense in the context of it sets up later parts of the movie, is early on in the movie, whenever we're first introduced to the love interest that, for some reason, I can't remember her name right now.
Kate?
Kate sounds
Wait,
right.
The love interest or the one who dumped him?
No, she doesn't. No, she's not a love interest. She doesn't count.
She's
Kate.
The real
Eagle
love
lady.
interest. Yes, the doctor. When we're first introduced to her character, is when they're saving a lion together. Not necessarily like a heart squeeze moment, but you see that's the beginning of their relationship. So when you look back in the context of the movie, it's one of those. But again, I have question marks beside that. So the first real heart squeeze moment between the two of them is when they are crashing his brother's wedding. They're actually not there to crash it originally. They're just there to try to make his ex jealous because he wants her back, which is a mistake. But
So passionate about that opinion.
it's true. I do not like her. So they are at the wedding together, and they're sitting at a table, and a song comes on that used to be him and his ex's song, and her current boyfriend are dancing to it. They're doing a whole a dirty dancing routine.
I think it was ballroom dancing, but whatever.
That's not what it looked like. But
that's what it was
more
called.
like spicy dancing.
But it wasn't. And the character was Joe Rogan, which was hilarious to
That's
see.
what I was like, is that
As
Joe
someone
Rogan?
the only context I know Joe Rogan in is UFC, because
Right.
that's what I'm into that Joe Rogan's into. So
I was going to say Fear Factor. I was kind of disappointed, but that's okay.
yeah. Well, so seeing Joe Rogan in that context was quite hilarious for me. But so it is Joe Rogan's character, but he's all upset that they're doing his song, and as the song comes on, you can see him mouthing the words to it. It's a funny scene.
It is funny.
And then a different song comes on, to which she says, "This is our song," which I immediately saw and was like, well, you can hear the music change. I'm like, that's got to be a heart squeeze moment. So I looked over at my wife, and it was. So that then proceeded by...
It's a physical reaction, I tell you.
See? And then proceeded by the entire next scene. They're on these rope
It's like
curtains that are strong enough to hold people. It's a thing.
People tie.
But yeah, and they spin up in them. They're swinging around and laughing really loud. And I wrote here, and this is because it would be a heart squeeze moment. Laughing and dancing together as if the world is not there. They don't know that everyone else in the wedding is there. They just see each other. You know?
Are these your notes?
Yes. Yeah.
You were right, sis. He has deep thoughts.
I just had the first squeeze.
See?
Dang it!
I feel like I shouldn't even have to
face.
list the other ones. Can I just get a point here?
You know,
See?
You're gonna get the bark going. Stop it!
you don't.
I'm sorry.
Has this happened on camera yet?
Oh Jesus, help me! I'm okay. So, yeah, I'm not sure if you got that point yet.
You can't get a point for the movie because you created heart squeeze in the moment.
I don't know. Anyway.
You're only 50% of the judges here.
Gosh, I'm never gonna stop crying now.
The point is, it's not a guarantee you get the heart squeeze.
Okay. Well, I have other things that I believe will verify.
We're at 15 minutes, so we need to think about this like legitimately. Does it get a point for heart squeeze from your view?
I have two more that are almost guaranteed.
I would like to hear them.
Can I quick rattle
She
them
said
off?
I would like to hear them
because they're close.
I'm at a half a point for sure, but I think I could be pulled over depending.
Okay, so these are my two more. So in the car after the wedding, they're talking about how that was awesome. That was so much fun. They're laughing together, and she says that was incredible, and he stops and says you're incredible, which I thought was similar to Pretty Woman when he says you're stunning. She says you're late. So I feel like if that, qualified, then so should this. And the other one is just a quote from him whenever he's talking to her. He says, "It took me 5 years to get over someone I didn't even love. I can't imagine how long it would take me to get over you." He says to her on the bridge after he climbed a bridge on the back of a gorilla to stop her from leaving.
Yeah, that was odd.
The city.
But that was a great quote. The 5-year thing. That was a good one.
Yeah, so I certainly felt like it qualified.
So full point for a cardiac embrace.
Yeah, I had to calm down.
Yeah.
I might have a heart attack.
Man, I thought you were going to burst your lungs. I thought I was going to just continue to cry for the rest of the night.
It's quite painful.
I don't know what it's the lights. It makes my eyes water in here.
Well,
and I start laughing, it gets worse.
You're a pretty emotional guy.
Shut up.
All
right.
Hey, get Mirror or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Hold
Mini mirror.
There you go.
That's the first time you ever used that thing. I don't know why you even bring it. Anyway, next criteria.
Because I'm emotionally secure. It's for our guests. In case
Nobody uses it. Everybody's emotionally secure, apparently.
Okay, so let's do out of place. Belonging.
Okay. So I have a couple different out of place. So one, I do believe he is out of place in the context of the movie of being that he is one man, human being, in a world full of talking animals. Now, I get you may say, yeah, he's a zookeeper, he's supposed to be there. But even he is weirded out by the animals talking to them. Even he doesn't feel like he's supposed to be there at first until he gets to know the animals a little bit better and they start to help him out. Mm-hmm. And then I also have he being out of place whenever he ends up back with his ex, and he ends up in a world full of rich people, and at heart he's just a nice zookeeper. Mm-hmm. And he ends up going to work for the dealership that his brother works at, and he becomes a douchebag, and nobody likes him, and he's just very out of place in that setting. And you can tell how much better he feels when he leaves that setting because he goes back to where he's supposed to be.
With Kate.
With Kate, that's true. And then I also have out of place in the context of he's best friends with Bernie. He even says that Bernie is his best friend. Bernie is the gorilla, for anybody that doesn't remember. And they go out because Bernie says something about what is it? Something Fridays at a restaurant in town.
Yeah.
And
TGI Fridays.
yes. And so he takes them out, and they go out and they have a fun time, and they pretend that he's just a guy in a really good Halloween costume when really it's a talking gorilla who's very out of place because talking gorillas in public restaurants don't really mix.
And they don't exist.
Well, do they not?
Never say never.
All right.
So I think this is a full point. I think what you brought makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's a little weak, but it's a full point because Kevin James himself is out of place. Like he's taking advice on how to get the girl
from animals,
mm-hmm. which is a part of the comedy. But that you kind of get, it's almost like he's Albert again from Hitch.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of a total dork, right? Mm-hmm. He's trying to figure out how do I pull this off. So he definitely is out of place. But you hit some others, so it just kind of adds to it. I think it was a full point with just him
There's
alone.
a lot of aspects of out of place in the movie.
Yeah.
So, and even you could say Kate is out of place because this isn't her zoo. She's just here temporarily to put up the eagle enclosure and take off.
Geographically wasn't a part of the definition, but whatever.
Just saying.
It was a
All
nice
right, so two of 6 right now. Where are you going?
My next one would be the shift, which is usually, now we've said this before, like it can be easily manipulated if you try to find one, but it's usually pretty obvious with the music or the camera slows down or you know, just a look in their eye.
Don't you manipulate this.
I will not manipulate this
right.
because it is very obvious and it is very cliche when they have the shift. So he's standing in his apartment with Stephanie, who is his ex, that he's back together with her. He's standing in their very nice apartment, and she has this fancy chair that she bought that's just like 3 round balls, and it's very uncomfortable to sit on. And she's going on and on about how should they have a TV in the living room because that's not like fancy or, you know, whatever. And you can see it's very cliche. He looks out the window and he sees a reflection of himself standing in his suit from the dealership, which he's not supposed to have because he's not like that. And he sees the reflection. You can see the music change, and you can tell he's thinking like, this isn't me. You know, what have I got myself into? And then about a scene or 2 later, I can't remember, she comes to the dealership, Stephanie does, and proposes to him, in which he says no, and then returns her line that I said would be very important, saying, you should have seen this coming, you know, from all along. So, and that's where it shifts. He realizes he doesn't actually want Stephanie back. That's all in the past. And he shifts his focus back to Kate and then thinks, oh, I need to go catch her before she leaves because she's leaving because the eagle enclosure is built. So it's very cliche in the, you know, the reflection and the music, and it's a very obvious shift.
I feel like on that one, I don't know. In my brain, that goes more with the redemption. Like when I watch that, I'm like, oh, that's a
fair point.
It's, the cliche. Like he looks at himself and realizes like, this is not me, and realizes like I'm okay with who I am. And then same with her. It's a little bit of revenge too, with being like, now you know how I felt 5 years ago. But I feel like the shift that I thought you were going to talk about was when he picks her up for the wedding and she comes out, and you know it's like, bam, 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 and he's like, wow, you look amazing. That was the spicy music. You know. Anyways.
I don't think that's what it was.
I don't remember that being the music.
It wasn't, but that's what I was implying.
So what you're saying is it's so good there's 2 shifts.
I didn't count that as a shift. To me, that's not
But
what
is that one a shift? Is that a full point shift?
Not a full point. I'm trying to think because I know at the wedding they have a fun moment, but I feel like he's still blinded by, I'm getting so close to getting Stephanie back. Like, he still views her as, you're such a great sport. But then later on, he starts to realize, you know, he realizes, I feel like he doesn't actually say, I have the girl I have feelings for, am in love with, till they're on the bridge.
So I'm going to side with Aiden here, actually, and I think the point does also go to redemptive. So I'm going to call it now to save us a little time. We're getting a little bit behind.
Right.
It definitely is going to get a redemptive point because he redeems his view of himself for sure. He becomes confident and all of that, self-assured, all that. But if you take what you just said, because you're right, there's borderline shift. Like there's a pre-shift at picking her up for the wedding. And then there's some other shifts, just like when they grab the drapery or whatever they're going to do their little dance with. They're close. You think they're going to kiss right then. They don't. You feel the sexual tension in the room.
Spicy moment. I guess I forgot.
You feel it in that moment and you think, oh, they're going to shift. But then to your point, he's still thinking, I want to be with whatever her name was, the old fiance. But it's when he's looking in the windows when he realizes I'm not who I am and who I want to be is the person that this person loves.
Oh, well, I was going to say
attracted to.
He's not who he is or who he wants to be without Kate.
Right.
And then he realizes I need to go get her back.
So I
don't know. That feels like manipulation. The manipulation.
It's a pretty
you call
obvious.
it. It's your call.
Oh, right.
Right now you're at 3 points because I'm giving you redemption. Now
She
it's
said
clear.
we're on the same side, and now she's trying to argue to make you do better. That's nonsense.
I think I'm gonna stick to my guns. Don't hate me.
Half? Mm-hmm. All right, 3.5. You're still doing pretty well. 3.5.
I text Mom before and said I think it has the potential to go 5.5 or higher. So
Right, 5.5 would be a loser, but whatever. So you're at 3.5 now. We did redemptive, so that was your third point.
Right.
And so patient pursuit, creative or patient pursuit. Thoughts? It's 25 minutes, by the way.
Okay, so I have written down that the pursuit in this I feel is very similar to the proposal, which did score a 7 out of 7, just for viewers' sake, just in case he tries to twist the rules. But they're not actually together for most of the movie, actually until the very end, just like the proposal. They're only pretending to be together for different purposes. In the proposal, she doesn't want to get deported, and in this, he's trying to win his ex back. So they're not actually together, but there is a slow pursuit throughout the movie that they don't even realize they're doing until you can see at the end. She tells the other guy at the zoo, she says that I was gonna stay after the eagle enclosure's done, but someone that I had developed feeling for is no longer here, so I'm going to go ahead and leave. So they realized throughout the movie that they were pursuing each other. They just didn't know it at the time, similar to the proposal. And then I also had the very obvious pursuit of literally chasing her down on the bridge on the back of his best friend, Bernie.
It was creative.
It was.
No doubt.
It was very creative pursuit. You can't deny that. So
Not patient, but creative.
no, the patient was throughout the movie. The creative was riding a gorilla.
I think the trouble you run into, so I'm a half point here because it's not intentional. Like the difference between the proposal is it starts to be intentional pursuit at the shift, which happens when he's laying on the floor. We talked about it in whatever season that was. And I think the difference here is he's not actively pursuing her until she's leaving. And she's not present in the other part of the movie in that context of his mind for him to be pursuing. They're just really good friends. But I do think it's certainly worthy of half the point.
The proposal I do love. It is probably my favorite rom-com, but I wouldn't say that he's necessarily pursuing her either, because he lets her leave and then has to chase her down on the boat.
We didn't let her leave. She left she left the altar.
And then he did what? He stood there and let her leave until she was already on the boat, leaving the island, and he had to chase her down. So I think it's very similar, but if you want to do half point, I guess I can concede a half point.
So
I feel he prepared by bringing in the movies that are in there.
Oh, it seemed the only fair way to do it because if you don't bring context, he'll just twist the rules.
Plus, people.
So
be
I
like,
had to have a movie that he loved, The Proposal, that he gave a 7 out of 7, which is very, very similar to this as far as The Pursuit.
You
as an
bring it
example.
into the world.
I did. I
So
created
that's
this
on
mess.
you.
It's true. So, but if you want to do a half point and you have no integrity, that's okay.
What is the remaining?
Shots fired.
What is the remaining criteria?
We have
Cute moments.
moments showing they know each other, and then soundtrack is the
Let's put a
you
pin
call
in
it.
a half a point.
okay.
Right now, I feel pretty comfortable saying that a half a point is what it earned, but we'll see.
Fair enough.
So currently, a pin in it, which would give you 4 points, and we've got cute moments,
Yep.
and then soundtrack, which is 30 minutes. I think we all know the soundtrack's getting a point. The soundtrack was excellent.
It was, and I was starting to worry. I don't know if you guys realized, I was like maybe close to halfway through the movie. Not a single song had
Yeah,
played.
right.
I was like, uh-oh.
But then when they
There's no
start-
point. But then when they start, they're great.
They're good.
I mean, there's Carry On, My Wayward Son, Low, I'll Supply the Love, Unbelievable. It's a great soundtrack. It is.
It was.
Yeah, it was a good one. So we're at 5.
Okay.
Soundtrack solid.
So what we have then is moments showing they know each other.
And this is, it all comes down to you, Amelia.
No pressure.
I don't like that.
It's okay. I'll make it quite easy for you to say yes. So, moments showing they know each other. The first one I have, whenever they're at the wedding and they're about to do the famous scene with the flying around on the drapes or whatever they are, she demonstrates that, and one, she is a professional and specializes in the eagles, but she demonstrates talking to him that he's a zookeeper. So she relates to him then by saying, did you know that the female eagle is attracted to the male eagle that can fly the highest? Soar with me. And then they go out and they do the whole thing. So it shows she's talking to him in zookeeper lingo. You know what I mean? So then...
Nerd.
Yes, sure. Zoo nerd. And then whenever when he tells her about his new job, she calls him out. Whenever he tells her she's going to the dealer or he's going to the dealership, she calls him out and says, "That's not you." She knows that's not him. I have it written down here. She points out that Stephanie is changing him, and that where he really belongs is with the zoo animals, because that's his passion. So that shows she knows him, not just about him.
Fair.
And then I don't know why I remember don't remember the context of this, but yes, when he catches her on the bridge and she says, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Cartwheeling," and she doesn't understand. He says, "Cartwheeling eagles," and that's what they do whenever eagles mate. They lock talons and cartwheel, I guess. And he's showing that he was listening to her all those times that she was talking to him.
I thought you were going to forget that one, and I was going to let you.
Oh, I was.
No,
not.
I was just
See,
kidding.
I have integrity.
yeah, she does. I had no questions about you coming into this until you kind of took a dump on the shift that was very obvious and very cliche, but that's neither here nor there. But it is a little here.
Dump on the shift. You took a shift on the shift?
Yeah, that's not cool.
Dad, we can't say that on the air.
I said shift. We say it every episode.
Yeah.
It was the implication.
So those are my moments showing that they know each other. I thought they were pretty strong.
What say you?
Well, yeah. Since I just bragged about having integrity, I guess I have to say yeah. But, yeah. But that means that's 6.
That's 6.
So this is when, ladies and gentlemen, don't procrastinate. Because we didn't figure out a way to do a tiebreaker, and here we are.
We did not, but we put a pin in one. And
Oh, right.
I
Don't give it to him.
No, I think I've been thinking about it sitting over here. I think I'm going to hold to the pursuit part.
Sure he has.
Yeah, I'm going to hold to it, but that would have been 6.5. But it is 6, which makes it a 4-way tie.
I would say I'm okay with the half point for The Pursuit, but then as much as it pains me because it is my favorite rom-com, I don't think that The Proposal deserves a full point. But I know you would want to argue
Wait a
about
second.
that. The viewers could maybe decide.
We have. Okay, let's roll with this just for literally just quickly.
Mm-hmm.
If The Proposal was deducted a half a point, would make
Correct.
it 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty Woman was 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Wait,
No,
no,
'cause
it got
it's
6 because
What got 6.5?
Can't Buy Me Love.
Can't Buy Me Love.
Mm-hmm.
Right. 6.5, 6.5, and then a 3-way tie for 6.
so then Hitch would become number 1, right? No, no. Hitch is lower.
It
Never
would
mind.
be the same order because
Yeah.
the rest of them have 6.
Yeah, this one comes up at the end.
Right.
Which still kind of
Yeah.
It is
struggling
weird.
to
we,
make it.
We got to figure out a tie thing. You can't just have 4 first place.
Maybe
Right.
we
Or
could just make a
second
top
place.
6. And then everybody's happy. He gets on, Olivia's movie stays on, my movie stays where it's at, and yours too. So it's a win-win-win-win. I'm all about winning.
I'm not really concerned about getting on the list. I proved the point that I needed to make about the integrity of Adam.
okay.
So
I think with this movie, I struggled mainly just because I considered making a criteria, and I wish I would have, because mine, like we pointed out, is basically love, love, and love. But, you know, what else? That's a rom-com. But with, like, the realistic component, that's where part of me shuts off from it. Like, animals can't talk. And the comedy, it was hilarious. I laughed a lot. But, it's more preference. This is not a knock on the movie. I prefer more rom. And just the fact that it's unrealistic. But I had a lot of heart squeezes with Bernie and Griffin. I actually cry every time when he's mad in the thing. He tells him about he was abused by the other guy.
that Bernie is a big part of the movie. I even
Yeah.
wrote that down as part of the redemptive. I know we
Yeah.
skipped past that, but Bernie has his own redemption from being the scary gorilla that apparently attacked the other guy that Griffin goes and kicks in his mom's house. But
So let's say this. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's
Great
certainly worth watching.
Definitely.
And I think, because kind of part of the point here is how do we get, but can we get a list where the ladies can encourage their men to watch with them and they would enjoy it as well? Men will enjoy this movie. There are some parts that are unrealistic, like riding the back of a gorilla, those kinds of things. But it is comical. It's certainly worth watching. And I'd say if we call it at 6 right now, it just stays in. We just got to figure out how to tie it. So 6, that's pretty good. I honestly didn't think you were going to get more than 5.5.
well, I did come prepared, and you did cheat a little bit. It should have been 6.5, but that's
If that movie would have been above You've Got Mail, I would have quit. I'm like, I'm freaking done with this.
well.
Because
Oh,
that
well.
would be painful. But it was a good movie.
I'm happy with how it scored, and I hope that I at least helped open the viewers' eyes a little bit to what's been going on
Okay.
this season.
All right. Yeah. Right. Okay. You're the real Elon Musk of this
Just saying.
podcast. Stop it.
Just saying. They see
All
what's
right.
going on now.
I'm
Ben
just
did a
happy-
good job of showing them too.
Yes.
Shout out Ben Conrad.
What?
I would say, I'm just happy I got to spend time with my brother.
Oh.
Heart
Aw,
squeeze.
Did you have a heart squeeze? I did.
Nope.
There was a moment I don't remember it towards the beginning. I was trying to smile because I'm just like, I'm so happy. Anyway,
And on that note, it's a great episode. Thanks for coming.
Of course.